computers, data connections, navigation, radio connections to the ground as well. Each stage on Neutron has its own flight computer, and this is the device which makes the decisions during flight. It's looking at sensors from across the vehicle, it's looking at where the vehicle is, whether everything is nominal, how it's performing. It's adjusting the engine to make sure that you've got the right thrust. It's adjusting the thrust vector so you're pointing in the right direction. So that's all part of the avionics system, and we deploy our software and algorithms onto that entire system. And we make sure that it's responding in the way we want to by testing before we fly. Something like the hardware in the loop facility behind me allows us to have a fully representative rocket, essentially in a server rack in a lab, so we can run simulated flights to orbit using real hardware and using software simulations as well. So when we work with our customers, we can make sure that we are flying their rocket, their payload, their mission, and we can do that thousands of times all the way through the relationship. That can start before we even start a contract, all the way to launch day as well, so that we're constantly refining, making sure there's no surprises on launch day, because it's all about mission success.
Archimedes is an aux-rich stage combustion engine. There are 9 of them on stage 1. The stage 1 engine is capable of 165,000 pounds of thrust, and on stage 2, it's capable of 200,000 pounds of thrust. A majority of the Archimedes components are made out of additive manufactured parts. We leverage a lot of the ROCKETLAB experience in additive manufacturing that enables us more design freedom and fast iteration.
We really kind of pioneered additive manufacturing for space travel. The Rutherford engine was the first orbital 3D printed rocket engine ever produced. Since then, I think we've already flown over 600 of these engines. We've made well over 1,000 of them. So moving into Archimedes was, we could take a lot of lessons learned from that and instantly hit the ground running with the things that we knew we were going to have challenges with. So the good thing about bringing additive manufacturing into production is that it's very scalable. And then it all just comes down to efficiency gains in the process. Where can we start printing a little faster, shaving weight, doing all these things just to get the machines to spit parts out as quick as possible. So it's really easy to turn the knob when it's time to scale.
I think I tell people really simply, we test rocket engines, right? Our job is to take the Archimedes, run it through the test procedures necessary to be able to determine its performance, its design criteria, make sure it's meeting those and that it's been manufactured to tolerance. Our days start here with the engineering and technician teams going through daily checkouts. That'll be leak check. Then we go through purge checks, make sure the engine's inert. Then we're ready to test the engines. On a good day, we could go run 5 or 6 hot fire tests a day. You go through design analysis processes, but you really don't know until you get to the test stand in real conditions, real propellant, real pressures. So you want to go through those. And what you might do, and what we've done here, there's a few different designs, and we'll make changes. We may be able to change part of the main injector on the engine and be able to put the engine back and test again. So we've done design validation of 2 or 3 pieces of hardware in a week that way to help the designers move forward.
Alright, TC1, that looks pretty solid. Gonna go ahead and arm facility.
Launch site diversity is incredibly important for the nation. That's why we're really excited to bring national security launch down to Wallops Island.
Launch Complex 3 is located on Virginia's eastern shore at NASA's Wallops Flight Facility. It's constructed on pile-supported foundations. We have over 5,000 cubic yards of concrete on site to pour the foundations. On the launch complex itself, in the center, you'll see a large-scale structure. That's the launch mount with its supporting mechanisms that support, hold, and subsequently release Neutron. In addition to that, you'll see a number of buildings on site. Those are the launch equipment vaults that have all the controls and electrical equipment for both the ground and the launch vehicle itself. You'll see a variety of tanks. Those are the high-pressure gas and propellant storage farms that store and ultimately load Neutron with fuel and oxidizer ahead of test and launch.
And Launch Complex 3, looks a little different than most other orbital launch pads of a vehicle this class. We did that intentionally to reduce the amount of bespoke infrastructure that needs to be created to support this rocket. You'll see the pad is quite clean with its propellant farms supporting the main launch pad in itself, and that's really largely there to minimize the amount of infrastructure needed for rapid reuse.
The ROCKETLAB team at LC3 is one of the best teams that I've ever worked with. The crew that we have here is world class.
It feels incredible watching it all come together. It feels incredible being part of a company that's in the pursuit of something really ambitious.
The fact that we've got what I think is the greatest team we could ever have, the smartest people, most passionate, hardest working group of people working these problems, gives me the confidence that we're gonna get there.
Neutron is critical to the future of Rocket Lab as an end-to-end space company. We're bringing a world first of a reusable launch vehicle to the market, and it's an amazing engineering feat.
So the thing that really excites me about how we're going to use Neutron is not just serving the nation with national security, it's things like human spaceflight, which of course is exciting for everybody. But for me personally, what really gets me excited is now I have multi-ton capability to go to other planets.
Thanks very much, and welcome everybody to LC3, the grand opening. So thanks so much for everybody to make it here today. I know a lot of people travelled a lot of distance. Look, today marks an extraordinary milestone, not just for Rocket Lab, but for the future of space access in America. With the opening of Launch Complex 3, we take a major step forward in ensuring resilient and assured space access for the nation, a capability that has never been more critical. I want to thank Governor Glenn Youngkin here today for his unwavering support and for the growth of the Virginia space industry and Rocket Lab, and it's an honour to have you here on this special occasion. Also, Secretary of Transportation Shep Miller and CEO of VSA Ted Mercer, thank you so much for all your support as well. It's been fantastic to see our partnership grow over the years, and first with ELECTRON and now with Neutron. And we have Congresswoman Kiggins here, with us as well, whose leadership in DC has been critical to the growth of the space industry. And welcome, Congresswoman. Really great to have you. Also, a special thanks to Senator DeStef and Delegate Bloxham. Thank you very much to have you and your staff here today. It's truly, we appreciate how much you do for the aerospace industry and Wallops in particular. So we also have Acting Director of Goddard Spaceflight Centre, Cynthia Simmons, so thank you, Cynthia, and Dave Pierce from Wallops as well. Thank you for being here. The relationship between Rocket Lab, NASA and VSA is critical to our combined success, and we really enjoy working with all of you guys, and the relationship has been fantastic. And sincere thanks to many of the other federal and state local leaders that are here, some of our customers and partners. You all play a really, really critical role in obviously our success. So today is an exciting day. Launch Complex 3 is our commitment to providing assured access to space and the launch site diversity that is needed within the United States. I have to say, in true Rocket Lab style, the launch pad behind us is almost an architectural monument. It looks so good. Launch sites are usually these boxy, horrible-looking things, but I was not going to have that. We had to have a beautiful launch site. So, what you see behind me is testament to that. And as we prepare for our next generation rocket, it makes sense that we have a world-class launch facility, landing facility also. So it's great to see that. Our high-cadence reusable launch vehicle Neutron will expand Virginia's capabilities and enable the United States to quickly and reliably reach the International Space Station, Earth orbit, as well as explore the moon and beyond. And I hope one day in the very near future, a Neutron will launch from this pad on its way to Mars. So Neutron... And maybe one day Venus too, but we'll go to Mars first. So Neutron is an entirely new kind of rocket, and it's been developed on a really, really rapid timeline to meet the demand for our constellation customers and, of course, high assurance missions for the nation. National security is already well served by Rocket Lab from Wallops Island with our ELECTRON launches and our HASTE launches right next door. But with Neutron, we're preparing to set a whole new standard for performance and reliability with our 13-ton class vehicle. As of one of only a handful of launch providers selected by the DoD's highest priority national security missions under the NSSL program, for the very first time, these are going to be launched from Virginia, which will be great. And of course, it's all the people on the ground doing the work who bring an operation like this to life. And first, I want to give a huge thanks to the entire ROCKETLAB team who have literally slept outside underneath the stars to build this launch pad from scratch. And it's such an impressive piece of infrastructure in such an incredibly short timeline. And of course, a huge thanks to all of the Virginia's talented industrial ecosystem that were standing there with their team, side by side in the middle of the night, making stuff happen. And once again, I want to thank you all for being here to celebrate the opening of this Launch Complex 3 and the site for us. It is going to be one of the nation's most important national assets, and it's going to bring great economic growth and prosperity to Virginia. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to the man with the weight of, quite literally, the weight of Neutron on his shoulders, VP of Launch for ROCKETLAB, Sean DeMello. Thank you.
Well, what a day. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today to officially open Launch Complex 3 on Mars Pad 0D. This is the 4th launch pad we've built here at ROCKETLAB, and I'm probably biased, but the launch pads are a beautiful, incredible feat of engineering. I mean, just take a look around. There's 5,000 cubic feet of concrete laid down out here, more than 700 tons of steel, that support the critical structures and mechanisms that hold Neutron on the pad before it lifts off. You'll see a bunch of intricate propellant and fluid systems that load the propellant onto the rocket, but also condition it before liftoff. And then all of this is tied together with an electrical and control system that perfectly commands and controls the pad before liftoff and communicates with the rocket. So on top of all of this, these systems then have to survive liftoff, which is basically an inferno, with over 1 million pounds of thrust coming off the back of Neutron. So to achieve all of this, taking on what Pete's mentioned there before in a very short time, it's really been made possible by the really strong teamwork, not just within our teams, but across a number of organizations, and some really strong forged partnerships that extend for a long, long time. So with that, I want to firstly extend my thanks to the Commonwealth of Virginia and the Virginia Spaceport Authority, Governor Youngkin, Congressman Kiggins, Secretary Miller, General Mercer. Thank you for your continued partnership, especially as we work shoulder to shoulder to get this pad built in record time. It's also been amazing to see our partnership grow at the site, from the early days of launching and establishing ELECTRON, just outside Launch Complex 3, to now bringing on what is Wallops's biggest orbital lift capacity from right here. And this will support national security space, commercial missions, interplanetary exploration. I mean, how good would it be to get to Mars from Mars? And it's got a good ring to it, right, John Mercer? But eventually, even human spaceflight. I mean, that's all part of our trajectory here with getting Neutron to this launch site. But speaking of astronauts, Governor Youngkin, when you were last year for the groundbreaking, I remember you telling us you wanted to go to space. You just happened to be a bit too tall to make the astronaut class. And Secretary Miller over the years has told me the story time and time again. So I guess gentlemen have taken the hint. We finally have a rocket big enough to get it done right here from Virginia. So in all seriousness, thank you for your continued support and partnership. This has really enabled us to not just establish ourselves here, but really grow with you as well and bring in a lot of high-tech capability to the region. So that's been really, really great. I'd also like to extend my thanks to the NASA team, Casey Swale, Cindy Simmons, Dave Pierce. Thank you for supporting us at this rapid pace of getting this pad online. I think we've successfully stress-tested our timelines and requirements for each other, and we've come out pretty successful, I think. Our combined efforts as well to streamline the way we do launch regulatory process out of this pad in tandem with the FAA will be a real nation's first, but also allow us to run a very slick and efficient operation out of the spaceport. And then finally, the ROCKETLAB team. I really hope you all take a minute or two today to stand back with pride and look at what you've all achieved. It's been incredible to see how hard you've all worked to make this happen. and to bring these systems not just to the pad, but also activate them in really, really quick succession. Your dedication and commitment to the cause and the mission, I think, really has made this possible. And you've even got the deep summer tan, I think, to prove it. So appreciate all the hard work out on the pad for many, many months to make this all happen. And then finally, I should say, we really look forward to what's to come here over the next few weeks and months. We can expect a lot of hardware for Neutron coming through, getting tested out at our integration facility where a lot of you all boarded in today, and then brought out to the pad for a number of integrated tests leading up to static fires, and then eventually Neutron's maiden launch. So we're looking forward to it. Thank you once again, and I'll hand you off to General Mercer.
Well, good morning. Good morning to you all. Welcome to Virginia's Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport. This is Virginia's spaceport, and ROCKETLAB is one of the marvelous customers that we have on our spaceport. We're excited about this event today because this is historic, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. But before I do that, we must acknowledge the support, unwavering support, that dedicated support from the first day of his administration, Governor Glenn Youngkin, from the first day to the current day today, throughout his entire administration. He has been dedicated to support and ensuring that we have the support to build something like that. And the Commonwealth's commitment has been unwavering through our elected officials, many that you see here today, Delegate Bloxham, Senator DeSteff, and others that you've heard named on the Hill, Congresswoman Kiggins. You've heard all these names. These are the reason that exists. Because had we not had that support, this would not be here. This would still be a grass field. So I want to take a moment and put a finer point on that, on how important Governor Youngkin's support and the elected officials have been to get here. Because in the last 18 to 20 months, which is an extraordinary timeline to build a launch pad, but it would not have happened without that support, and I think I would be remiss if I didn't point that out and make sure we're all aware of that. I said that this is historic. It is historic for Virginia. It is historic for the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport because the Neutron will be the largest rocket to date to launch from Mars. It will be capable of lifting some 33,000 pounds to orbit on a single launch. 33,000 pounds to orbit on a single launch. But what's more important is that it will also bring wonderful, high-paying, sustainable jobs to this region. It will enhance economic development to this region, not only because of what it will lift, but because of the supply chain that it will bring with it. You know, you heard the old adage, build it and they will come. They and we have built it, and now they will come. That is the economic development that we will see as a result of this. It's good for the Commonwealth. It's good for Virginia. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to be a part of it. And then lastly, I want to express my appreciation to Peter Beck for having the vision at the time. Remember, this started years ago, to have the vision, to see the potential and the opportunity to come to Virginia. And so I want to applaud you for that. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Cynthia Simmons, Acting Director of NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center, And I am excited too. Let me just say that. My journey as a young person, Governor Youngkin asked me, how did I get in here? Is watching us go to the moon. I didn't have a family that showed me how to get there. But when I got to school at the academy, that opened the window, and now I'm seeing something that I was dreaming of as a little kid. So imagine all the other little kids who are going to dream of this as a result. Thank you for everything. So on behalf of NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center and our Wallops Flight Center, it's my honor to welcome you. I am happy to be joined by our Wallops Director, Dave Pierce, to inaugurate this latest addition to Wallops facility, and we are excited to be partner and a part of it, really. I'd like to especially welcome Governor Youngkin, who's my governor, just so you know, and members of his cabinet, and thank him and his team for the ardent support of Wallops and the NASA mission overall. His leadership has been vital to the growth of Wallops and our partnership with the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport. I would like to recognize and thank our distinguished guests for joining us, especially Congresswoman Kiggins. Thank you so much. Our Virginia's 2nd Congressional District, members of the Virginia General Assembly and the Maryland General Assembly, our partners from Accomack County, including the Board of Supervisors and county leadership, as well as the town of Chincoteague and town council, and the many industry, community, and federal partners that are represented here today. Your support has enabled us to accomplish our mission here on the island for the last 80 years on behalf of the American people, on the behalf of the Commonwealth and beyond. Thank you all for being here today. Sir Peter Beck, this is my first time meeting you. It was an honor to meet you. And Sean DeMello, I was thinking, wow, I could have been you back in the day, and wishing. And your teams, it's a monumental day for Rocket Lab and for NASA. Thank you for flying all the way from New Zealand and allowing us to celebrate alongside with you. It wasn't long ago, in January 2023, when we initially teamed up with Rocket Lab as it launched its first Electron vehicle from Launch Complex 2 at Wallops. This partnership has only accelerated since. As General Mercer said, this is incredible. I have spent my career in aerospace, in the space industry, and this is an accomplishment that I think a lot of people dreamed of but didn't know would be possible. So it's awesome. The strength of this collaboration between Rocket Lab, Virginia Space, and NASA can serve as an example for government-industry partnerships in the space arena for the important years to come. As the President put it in his executive order published earlier this month, it is the policy of the United States to enhance American greatness in space by enabling a competitive launch marketplace and substantially increasing commercial space launch cadence and novel space activities by 2030. We at NASA are committed to that, and I'm excited about it. The space domain is changing rapidly, and NASA will continue to change with it by evolving our own operations and also by leveraging strategic partnerships with industry leaders such as Rocket Lab. Those partnerships broaden our NASA mission and help us deliver even more to the American taxpayer. This ceremony today is a celebration of all that. Again, on behalf of Goddard, thank you for coming out today. I look forward to being back here to witness the first Neutron. I'm gonna be here, you can guarantee it. Here's to continued success for the growing space economy in Virginia. It is now my pleasure to introduce Congresswoman Jen Kiggins. Representative Kiggins proudly serves Virginia's 2nd Congressional District, home to Wallops Flight Facility, and thank you. I thank you so much. She is a Navy veteran, nurse practitioner, and a strong advocate for Virginia's military families, workforce, and space community. In Congress, she has championed support for Wallops as a vital national security and space launch asset, ensuring that this facility continues to thrive as a driver of innovation and opportunity. Please join me in welcoming Congresswoman Kiggins.
Thank you so much. And just special welcome to Governor Youngkin and to all of our local state elected leaders and to all of you for taking time to celebrate what is truly, Peter, a beautiful launch pad. So it is just a perfect day to be with all of you and a privilege. We were here a week ago just to have a great tour of the Virginia Spaceport Authority and to see the good work going on here. So it just continues day after day. But I just wanted to thank ROCKETLAB for what you're doing, for your partnership with our country all the way from New Zealand. It was a privilege to be able to visit several months ago to see a launch from New Zealand. So I look forward to seeing the next one that's happening here in Virginia's 2nd District. But ROCKETLAB's ingenuity in the aerospace manufacturing space is invaluable, including the reusable rocket Neutron, another revolutionary piece of launch systems to prepare our nation for the military threats of tomorrow. ROCKETLAB's record of successful missions is nothing short of amazing, and I know that Launch Complex 3 will be yet another addition to its illustrious record. We were proud in Congress to help secure almost $1.5 million for national security space launch procurement in the National Defense Authorization Act, as well as $6.5 million for national security space launch program development and demonstration. Keeping up in the space race is imperative, and Rocket Launch is helping to make that happen. We know our adversaries are out there, they are strong, and they are watching as well. So important that we not only keep head-to-head with them, but that we excel and exceed their capabilities. Our National Defense Authorization Act also requires Space Force reports through 2031 on the Spaceport of the Future initiative, detailing projects, cost, funding needs, and industry feedback. These will serve as essential updates for manufacturers like ROCKETLAB to keep up with infrastructure requirements and the technological necessities for future innovation. And I couldn't be more proud to be the representative from VA02, from the 2nd District in Virginia, from Wallops Island specifically. We have work to do here, but are so excited for the economic growth that was mentioned, the opportunities that ROCKETLAB's continued investment in this region has. So now I'd like to introduce a true advocate for our community. He serves as a member of the Commonwealth Transportation Board, the Board of Virginia Free, and the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce, just to name a few. He's not just a public official, but also a dedicated stakeholder in this community who envisions the next generation of aerospace engineers and technicians driving Virginia's economy. I proudly introduce Virginia's Secretary of Transportation, Shep Miller.
Thank you, Congressman Jenkins. I really appreciate that very much. I'm going to truncate my remarks this morning and get to the real fun stuff. Sir Peter Beck, thank you. Thank you for your vision. Thank you for your collaboration. And thank you for your confidence in Virginia here. We've got a great spaceport, and we make a great team together. Delegate Bloxham, Delegate Waxman, Senator's staff, and all the others that have helped us get here, thank you. Without your help, we would not be here either. And General Mercer, thank you so much for your leadership, sir. You've been key to everything that's happened in Virginia space in the last 5 years. We appreciate it so much. And also for Sean, your right hand, Sean Mulligan, we appreciate that. We got two Sean right hands, Sean DeMello and Sean Mulligan, and without them, none of this would happen. So really appreciate that. Let me just say a couple things real quick, and then I'm going to introduce the governor. Mr. Beck, 1979, you were 3 years old. I remember a movie called Moonraker, and in the movie, this rocket went up, and it opened up, and I saw it here. I saw it here, right? That's 46 years later, but the rocket opens up, and things come out. In that case, he grabbed some stuff and took it away. But look, you know, this is real. This is what we see, and how transportation, how rocket, how space, how things move forward. It's just incredible. So really excited about that. Neutron. We have a Neutron too, sir. Neutron, as you know, and I'm no scientist, sir, but Neutron helps hold the nucleus together, right? Keeps those pesky protons from blowing everything up. We have a Neutron in Virginia, and his name is Governor Glenn Youngkin. Not only does the governor hold us all together, but unlike a Neutron, he propels us forward, propels us. And you talked about going to great places. Sir Peter Beck, the governor, has taken us to the moon. We've gotten to Mars, sir, and he's taken us on the way to Venus. So he is setting the pace for you. We're asking you to come along with us. We're really excited to be part of this. Ladies and gentlemen, the 74th governor of Virginia, a guy who's propelled Virginia to new heights, Governor Glenn Youngkin.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. I think it's a fabulous day to cut a ribbon on the most beautiful launch pad in the world. There's never been one like this. And so what an honor it is to be here together to not just celebrate a launch pad, but to celebrate a giant step to the future. You see, big steps like this first have to have a visionary, they have to have a team, and then they have to execute. And I just want to, again, reiterate the requirement and the benefit of the teamwork that has gone on here over and over and over again. From the very first day, we were standing in a grassy field, and ROCKETLAB said, Virginia's the place. The teamwork has been amazing. And it's when teams come together and they know where they're going and they get there, and we look back as to why, the common denominator is always the talent and the ability to work together. And so I first want to start there. Thank you. Thank you to everyone in this room who has been pulling so hard on this oar to drive us forward. Thank you. I have to say that I was a bit taken by the hungry hippo. You see, I was working to design heat exchange units for a lunar space station when I was in college. I had this vision of what rockets would look like. I didn't know that you could have an 8-year-old game figure out how to design the absolute working components on the most advanced delivery system we've seen. It is extraordinary to see that vision come to life and to see it ready to be launched right here. Now, as the only launch site in the world for this next generation Neutron rocket, fully reusable, this is a total game changer. And it's because of that that the Commonwealth of Virginia continues to not just be a supporter, but we are marching arm in arm with NASA, with Wallops, and with ROCKETLAB. And the reason is we too believe in the comprehensive benefit of space exploration, of the commercialization of space, and the economic development that will happen right here in Wallops Island, on the Eastern Shore, in Hampton Roads, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, in the Mid-Atlantic, across our nation. This is critically important. I want to thank my friends in the General Assembly. Senator DeSteph has been an amazing advocate. Delegate Bloxham, thank you. Delegate Waxman, thank you. Congresswoman Kiggins, thank you for your advocacy in Washington. Congresswoman Kiggins works harder than anybody I know. And I'm telling you, I talk to her at midnight and I talk to her at 5 in the morning. And she is constantly working for Virginia. It has been this collaborative approach from federal, state, local. And by the way, I want to thank my friends at Chincoteague for not only hosting yet another great pony swim, but making sure that my wife fulfilled her campaign promise and having a pony to take home with her and relieving me of a lot of money along with it. But it is everyone who comes together in order to make something like this happen. I do want to acknowledge the fact that the Virginia taxpayers have played a big role. $55 million the Virginia taxpayers have dedicated to this project. Again, for what I call Pad 0D, which is the center of Launch Complex 3. $55 million to support the pad and the assembly, integration, and test facility for Neutron. It's that kind of commitment that will translate into an enormous economic return for the Eastern Shore, for the Commonwealth, and for America. The Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport, as I said, is not just a launch site, but it is an economic engine. But I have to say that economic engine took a giant step forward when President Trump signed his executive order recently. And Cynthia, I totally agree. This is a game changer, enabling competition in the space industry. This executive order paves the way to clear regulatory hurdles, to streamline processes, to invite competition, to activate novel space activities, to lead. And that's what we have to do. I constantly am inspired by the fact that Virginians don't follow, we lead. And here we are with the opportunity to lead yet again. Now, in order to lead, it requires us to have an ecosystem that can fulfill not just the current requirements, but the future requirements of the most vibrant space industry complex in America. That is what we are building, the most vibrant space industry complex in America, right here. As part of that, we have to attract extraordinary talent, and we see it. But we also have to build the next generation of talent. And later today, we will celebrate the launch of the Aerospace Academy on the Eastern Shore Lab School, a school dedicated to 9th through 12th education, to building the future, not just the future talent, but the true future of the space industry. Students who, like me and like Cynthia, were dreaming of space back when we were young. Students who now have an opportunity to dedicate an extraordinary portion of their academic time to building that future. Whether it's assembling rockets here, whether it's working on flight plans, designing satellites, or being that engineer that finally figures out how the heat exchange unit on a lunar space station is going to work. That is what's happening here. And that's why I have so much confidence that when we look at the shore and we see what can be built here, it makes people like me and so many others so excited. The physical phenomena of what the Neutron will be able to deliver is really, really mind-stretching. The physical phenomena that it is 100% reusable is beyond, I think, all of our dreams. And the fact that it's going to be launched right here at Wallops, I think is, for many of us, the fulfillment of aspirations for what this facility can be, should be, and must be. That is what we're talking about today. And so again, I want to thank ROCKETLAB for trusting us and partnering with us. Peter, you have been amazing, and so thank you. Your team has been literally working 24/7 since the day we put a shovel in the ground. I want to thank Secretary Miller for your incredible leadership. What a partner you have been. I want to thank the entire Virginia Space Authorities. General, thank you. Every time we have a chance to speak, we are leaning forward. We are not looking backward. By the way, nobody got anywhere from ever looking in the rearview mirror. We have got to keep pounding forward, and that's what we've been doing. This community has been extraordinary. And therefore, I want to set us a target that we will have a much larger gathering, and everybody here is invited. And Peter and I were just discussing it out front, that before the end of this year, we will all gather and we will watch the first Neutron rocket lift off from Pad 0D right here together. Now, Sean, thank you. If it's on Christmas Day, I'll bring the gifts. And with that, it is so exciting for me to say, like I do when we conclude so many meetings, Go Neutron, and let's go to work. God bless you, and what an exciting day. And thank you, everybody, for making today a reality. Thank you. Here we go. The Hungry Hippo.
Good. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us out front of the tent for the ribbon cutting ceremony. Thank you.
We like to do things a little bit differently here at Rocket Lab, and these guys have got a giant pair of scissors. I've got a giant button. So what I need you to all do is we're going to count down from 10 to 0, and at 0, don't worry about that. Trust me, everything will be fine. So we'll count down from 10. Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You look behind you, sir. You. Wow. We do have water.
We just did about 70 today.
Yeah.
We don't want you to get too wet. All right.
Yeah.
This is just the right mist in this thing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Just want to make sure cool off a little bit.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Good work. Thank you, sir.
And Launch Complex 3, looks a little different than most other orbital launch pads of a vehicle this class. And we did that intentionally to reduce the amount of bespoke infrastructure that needs to be created to support this rocket. You'll see the pad is quite clean with its propellant farms supporting the main launch pad in itself. And that's really largely there to minimize the amount of infrastructure needed for rapid reuse.
Launch Complex 3 is a world-class medium-lift launch facility. It's constructed on pile-supported foundations. There's over 650 concrete reinforced piles that are between 70 and 80 feet in length. We have over 5,000 cubic yards of concrete on site for the foundations. In addition to that, we have approximately 700 tons of steel in the launch mount itself. We have a water tower that has a 200,000-gallon capacity and even more capacity in our cryogenic propellant storage on site. If you go out radially from the launch mount, you'll see a series of buildings that we call the launch equipment vaults. Those house all the electrical and controls equipment needed for both the ground systems and the launch vehicle itself. Towards the perimeter of the site, you'll notice large tanks. Those are the propellant farms that store and ultimately load Neutron with the fuel and oxidizer ahead of test and launch campaigns. There's quite a few block upgrades that are planned for Launch Complex 3. Most notably, you'll see block upgrades to the lifting and integration infrastructure out on the launch site itself. In addition to that, you'll see a doubling of propellant storage and a number of other assets put in place to support rapid turnaround times for both test opportunities as well as missions.
With Launch Complex 3 being the 4th launch pad we've built as a company, we've got a lot of experience in bringing infrastructure to life very, very quickly. We're also familiar with the Wallops Island and the NASA and the Virginia space teams, so that's enabled us to really hit the ground running in getting this pad built in record time.
Neutron is revolutionary in its design, revolutionary in its construction, and its operating model. This will bring a new capability and expanding the lift capability at the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport. We have a marvelous relationship with ROCKETLAB, and we're excited about beginning to launch the new Neutron rocket. Exciting times ahead as space continues to grow.
ROCKETLAB with Neutron at Wallops represents an expansion of the launch capacity that's needed in the United States. You can't launch everything from the Cape, and the United States needs both Wallops and the Cape to be able to enable us to go to the moon and onto Mars.
The ROCKETLAB team at LC3 is one of the best teams that I've ever worked with. It's a pretty driven group of individuals, and I'm super excited to see construction come to a completion and move into the test campaigns with the flight hardware.